What if I told you there's a specific prayer formula that guarantees God will hear you every single time? Not maybe. Not sometimes. Every time. King David discovered this formula during his darkest crisis, and when he used it, something supernatural happened. His enemies were silenced, his joy returned, and he slept in perfect peace. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down David's exact prayer strategy from Psalm 4, and by the end, you'll never pray the same way again. In today's deep dive into Psalm 4, you're going to discover 4 game-changing prayer secrets that will transform your relationship with God. First, David's opening prayer move that instantly gets God's attention, even when you feel ignored. Second, how to pray when people are questioning your faith and saying, "Where's your God now?" Third, the joy secret that works even when circumstances haven't changed yet. And fourth, David's sleep formula that guarantees perfect peace every single night. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal about verse 1 will revolutionize how you approach God in prayer, and verse 8 contains the most powerful sleep promise in the entire Bible. Before we jump into David's formula, let me ask you something honest. Have you ever felt like your prayers just bounce off the ceiling? Like God's not listening, or maybe He's too busy for your problems. Maybe you've been praying about the same situation for months, even years, and nothing seems to change. Maybe people around you are starting to question your faith, saying things like, "If God really loved you, wouldn't He answer by now? Maybe you're not praying right. Are you sure God even hears you?" If that's you, then Psalm 4 was written specifically for this moment in your life. Because David faced the exact same doubts, the same questioning, the same feeling of being ignored by heaven. But David discovered something that changed everything, a way to pray that not only guarantees God's attention but also brings supernatural joy and peace, even before your circumstances change. This isn't about name it claim it theology or manipulating God. This is about understanding how to align your prayers with God's heart in a way that opens heaven's doors every single time. Stay with me because I'm about to show you exactly how David did it, and how you can use this same formula starting tonight. Let's dive into verse 1, and I want you to notice David's opening prayer strategy. "Answer me when I call to you, my righteous God. Give me relief from my distress, have mercy on me and hear my prayer." Now, most people read this and think David's just making requests. But look closer, David's opening move is genius, and it's based on 3 powerful prayer principles. First principle, he appeals to God's character, my righteous God. David doesn't start with his problem, he starts with God's nature. He's saying, "God, because you are righteous, I know you care about justice and doing what's right." Second principle, he reminds God of past victories, "Give me relief from my distress." The Hebrew here suggests David is saying, "You've delivered me before, so I know you can do it again." Third principle, he combines confidence with humility, "Have mercy on me." David isn't demanding, he's appealing to God's mercy while maintaining absolute confidence that God will answer. Friends, this is prayer strategy at its finest. David doesn't just throw requests at heaven, he builds his case based on who God is and what God has already done. So before you tell God what you need, remind Him who He is. Before you list your problems, recall His past faithfulness. Before you make demands, appeal to His mercy. But stay with me because David's next move is even more brilliant. He addresses the doubters directly. Now comes verses 2 to 3, where David faces the exact criticism you might be hearing right now. "How long will you people turn my glory into shame? How long will you love delusions and seek false gods? But know that the Lord has set apart His faithful servant for Himself, the Lord hears when I call to Him." David's enemies aren't just attacking his situation, they're attacking his faith. They're saying his relationship with God is shameful, that he's deluded, that God doesn't really care about him. Sound familiar? Maybe people have looked at your unanswered prayers and said, "Where's your God now?" Maybe you're not as blessed as you thought. Face reality, God's not coming through for you. But watch David's response. He doesn't get defensive. He doesn't try to argue with them. Instead, he makes one of the most powerful declarations in the entire Bible. "Know that the Lord has set apart His faithful servant for Himself, the Lord hears when I call to Him." David essentially says, "Let me tell you something you need to know. Not think, not wonder about, but know, God has chosen me. I'm set apart. And when I call, He hears." This is your response to everyone who questions your faith. I know God has chosen me. I know I'm set apart for Him. I know He hears when I call. You don't have to prove your relationship with God to anyone. You don't have to defend your prayers to critics. You simply declare the truth. You belong to God, and He hears you. But here's where it gets even better. David doesn't just defend his faith, he shows his critics how to find what they're really looking for. Verses 4 to 7 contain David's prescription for his critics, and hidden inside is the secret to supernatural joy. Tremble and do not sin. When you are on your beds, search your hearts and be silent. Offer the sacrifices of the righteous and trust in the Lord. David tells his enemies, and us, exactly how to find what we're really looking for. But notice the process. Step 1. Tremble and do not sin. **** Recognize God's holiness and your need for Him. Step 2. Search your hearts and be silent. Get alone with God and honestly examine your motives. Step 3. Offer the sacrifices of the righteous, ****, surrender everything to Him. Step 4. Trust in the Lord, let go and let God handle it. But then comes the breakthrough in verses 6 to 7. Many, Lord, are asking, who will bring us prosperity? Let the light of your face shine on us. Fill my heart with joy when their grain and new wine abound. While everyone else is asking, who will make us prosperous? David asks for something completely different. He wants the light of God's face to shine on him. And then something supernatural happens. God fills David's heart with joy even when his enemies are the ones prospering. Even when their grain and wine abound, when they have everything he doesn't have, David experiences supernatural joy. This is the secret, friends. Joy doesn't come from getting what you want. Joy comes from getting more of God's presence. Joy comes from the light of His face shining on you, regardless of your circumstances. You can have joy while waiting for answers. You can have joy while others seem blessed and you don't. You can have joy when your prayers seem delayed. Because your joy isn't based on what God gives you, it's based on God Himself giving Himself to you. But stay with me because David's final move is the most powerful of all. And then comes verse 8, which might be the most powerful sleep promise in the entire Bible. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Remember where we started. David felt ignored by God, questioned by enemies, facing the same problems as yesterday. But now, perfect peace, perfect sleep, complete safety. What changed? Not his circumstances, not his enemies, not even his answered prayers yet. What changed was David's heart through this prayer formula. David says, "In peace I will lie down and sleep." That's not a hope, that's a declaration. That's not a wish, that's a guarantee. And notice the reason. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Not his army, not his strategy, not his circumstances. God alone provides his safety and peace. This is your sleep formula, friends. Step 1. Appeal to God's character and past faithfulness. Step 2. Declare your identity as God's chosen one. Step 3. Follow God's process for heart alignment. Step 4. Ask for His presence, not just His presence. Step 5. Choose joy based on God, not circumstances. Step 6. Declare peace and safety in God alone. When you pray this way, when you use David's formula, you're not just asking for things. You're aligning your heart with God's heart. You're moving from anxiety to peace, from questioning to confidence, from sleepless nights to perfect rest. Tonight, instead of lying awake worrying about unanswered prayers, you can lie down and sleep in peace, knowing that you serve the God who hears every word, who has chosen you as His own, and who alone makes you dwell in safety. Friends, I don't know what prayers have felt unanswered in your life. I don't know what critics have questioned your faith or what circumstances have stolen your peace. But I know this, the same God who heard David's prayer formula is waiting to hear yours. The same peace that filled David's heart is available to fill yours tonight. Right now, I want you to try David's formula. Comment below with, "God, you are my righteous God," and then tell Him one way He's been faithful to you before. Start with His character, not your problems. If you use this prayer formula tonight and experience God's peace, come back and share your testimony in the comments. Your breakthrough might be exactly what someone else needs to see. Tonight, before you go to bed, declare out loud, "In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety." Then see how peacefully you sleep. If this prayer formula gave you new confidence that God hears you, hit that like button and share this with someone whose prayers feel unanswered. Tomorrow, we're diving into Psalm 5, and you're going to discover David's morning prayer routine that set him up for victory every single day, no matter what battles he was facing. Don't miss it, your daily breakthrough is waiting in the next psalm. Until tomorrow, remember, you are God's chosen one, He hears when you call, and you can sleep tonight in perfect peace because He alone makes you dwell in safety. Wake up knowing you're heard, chosen, and blessed beyond measure. See you tomorrow for Psalm 5.